Gotcha.
Arch-tempered Vaal Hazak is right around the corner, and when he lands, I want you guys to be equipped with the best build for fighting him, and that's why we're going to be taking a look at the Anja Arch 3. This is a Rarity 6 bow. That means you get 3 augmentation slots, and is pretty widely regarded as the best bow to use against Vaal Hazak. In fact, a lot of people consider this one of the best weapons to use against Vaal Hazak, against all of the other weapon classes. And I don't really know where it sits in the actual meta for that. It could be in first, could be in second, it could be in third, but I do believe it's in the top 3. And that's why I wanted to offer you guys an updated build. There's been builds made for Anja Arch, but there's been changes to the game too. There's been updates. Lunastra was added. And Lunastra was kind of important for bow users because Lunastra has something called Stamina Cap Up as one of her armor skills, right? And the fact that her armor is already so efficient allows you to access that. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. Why don't we jump over to taking a look at the attributes of Anja Arch 3. Alright, so you can see one of my augmentations is actually Infinity Increase, and this is going to give me back 10% Affinity. I highly recommend taking this because since we're going to be going with an elemental crit build, you're really going to want as much positive affinity as possible. And what you really could have done with all of the augmentations is just gone straight affinity. That probably would help more towards your output. But when you do a triple augmentation for affinity, there's diminishing returns. So I took health regen and slot upgrade, and that's just my preference. You might have a different preference. When we're looking at its base stats, you can see it has an attack value of 240. For me, it has negative 10% affinity, and most importantly, it has a fire element of 390. And this is the real reason we're interested in it, because Vaal Hazak has a 3-star weakness to fire. Now, there are some other fire bows in the game thanks to Kov Teroth, but after some analysis, it's pretty obvious that Anja Arch 3 just deals more damage than those other bows. It's not really a close contest, right? So we're not interested in those. If they're all you have and you don't have time or the patience to build Anja Arch, you can of course supplement that, one of those fire bows from Kov Teroth in for Anja Arch. But if you want to get really serious, I would do it. It's not hard to build Anja Arch. I would just go get all of the materials you need and go ahead and build it. It's really worth building. Oh, and by the way, before we progress any further in this video, I think what I want to do for every one of these counter builds that I'll be showing you for Vaal Hazak, so I want to mention that there's 2 droppable boulders that you should absolutely be taking advantage of every time you fight Vaal. Not only does it deal a good chunk of damage, but it also gives you a KO on him as well. So go ahead and look at the video and I'll show very carefully where these are located. You'll notice that they're teeth technically, right? They look like they're teeth and they're coming out of the jaw of a big monster. So whatever you do, don't miss out on these. Don't lure him away. Be sure you lure him under the teeth with your teammates. Bad teammates lure him away, right? And also take your time, right? Be sure that it actually lands. Don't get overexcited and take risks. Make sure he's really right underneath it when you fire it, because you don't want to miss out on these. Alright, now we're going to move on to talking about the Anja Arch 3 build that I've made, and this again is the updated build that takes into account the new Lunastra armor. Alright, now as usual, I'm going to do my best to prioritize these skills for you so that if you don't have all of the armor pieces or all of the decorations that you need, you know what to focus on first. Now I would say the very first skill we have to build is the crit element skill. There's only one way to build it right now. You have to have 2 pieces of the Rathalos armor set. In my case, I took Rathalos Male Beta and Rathalos Coil Beta. This gives you the critical element skill and it's really important for getting your damage up. Next, I would say Weakness Exploit is your most important skill because this is going to affect your affinity so that you actually have a chance of landing a crit. I'm also going to mention at this point that you're going to want to bring Affinity Booster with you so that when you go to fight Vaal Hazak, you put the Affinity Booster down and this is going to bring your affinity up by about 50%. So as long as you're hitting headshots, you have about a 90% chance of landing crits on Vaal, and that's really important for getting your damage up. After that, we're still interested in boosting our damage. You'll notice I have Fire Attack 4, Constitution 3, Normal Shots, and Spread/Power Shots. These are all really important for boosting your damage, as well as Bow Charge Plus. Now, really I'm able to get all of these onto the build because of the armor pieces from Lunastra are so efficient, right, that they allow you to bring a lot of level 2 and level 3 decorations. Also, I want to point out, if you're missing Normal Shots or you're missing the Power Shots decoration, that you can bring the Black Diablos leggings or the Lava Seath leggings, and those actually, whichever one you chose, will offer either Normal Shots or Power Shots. So that's one way to get those onto the build if you don't actually own those decorations. And of course, I got Constitution onto the build by using the Fitness Charm. This is a very effective use of the Charm slot because you're getting 3 level 2 decorations, which normally you only get 2 level 2 decorations with the Charm. So this is a very efficient use of the Charm slot. Alright, and then after that, the last thing I think I want to mention is that bringing 2 pieces of the Lunastra set is going to give you another armor skill. You're going to get the Stamina Cap up skill, and when you're using a bow, you're always interested in managing your stamina. The more stamina you have and the faster it recharges, the more sustained damage you're going to be able to do with your bow, right? So we're really interested in that. Of course, there's a few consumables you can consider using or bringing with you, but we're talking strictly about the build here. Stamina Cap up, you just need 2 pieces of the armor set, and then after you've eaten at the canteen, you won't actually see the bonus that you're getting from Stamina Cap. What you have to do to see it, you're going to have to eat a ration, and you'll see your stamina bar grow just a little bit more. Okay, you can always get free rations from the community chest once you've landed in your actual match versus Vaal Hazak. So once you land, go pick up a ration and take a bite of it. You'll also notice I get the Evade Extender skill. It takes a little bit of getting used to, actually. It increases your evade distance, and I love that for the heavy bow guns, but on the bow, there were moments where it kind of messed my aim up because I was moving around so much, but you actually get used to it pretty well. You also notice I did add Crit Boost onto the build just to get a little more damage. It just shows you that the build I have is so efficient in terms of decoration slots that I just have leftover decorations. You might also notice I only took 1 rank of Effluvia resistance. Since this is a ranged weapon, you really don't have to constantly be in his cloud, and you really should be capable of dodging most of his moves. It's his moves that put the Effluvia ailment onto you. I mean, if you stand in the cloud, you'll eventually get Effluvia ailment as well, but if you get just 1 level of the resist and he never hits you, you should be fine. Now, if that's not good enough for you, if you're still uncomfortable with it, you could probably drop the critical jewels. You could also consider dropping 1 more rank of the blaze jewels. I don't know if I would do that one. I think that one affects your damage more directly, but that's up to you. I'm comfortable with only 1 miasma gem, and of course I bring the nullberry so that if he actually does get me, I just need a nullberry right away, which is very easy with the bow because a bow sheaths very quickly. Alright, and that is my bow counter build for Arch-Tempered Vaal Hazak. I hope you found the information useful. I hope you appreciate the new build, the updated build that considers the Lunastra armor, right? And good luck to you guys when he comes out. I'm sure I'm hoping he'll be challenging, because right now, Tempered Vaal Hazak, although he can surprise you, once you've really got him down, once you've really figured him out, he's very easy. So I'm kind of hoping that he becomes a real challenge, like the way some of the best Elder Dragons have been recently. But I don't know, he's an interesting monster. I could probably give you some general tips for fighting Vaal Hazak, and just overall, like one of the ways he's interesting is he tends to just always damage you. He's a DOT monster. There's like no way to escape his damage sometimes. So you just have to consider that you're going to take some damage. And that's why something like health regen augmentation is actually kind of useful, because it kind of replaces the DOT damage that he's doing to you, right? So that's nice. Obviously, he's got the beam and he's got the blast. Those are his 2 big moves. They have giant tells, so they're very easy to dodge. If you're brand new, you won't recognize them, but just playing with them for a little while, you'll recognize them right away. The other thing I'll mention is if he does blight or give you the ailment, the Effluvia ailment, if you haven't ever paid attention to this before, when he gets on his hind legs and he does like his scream, or he's doing like an inhale, you'll notice he actually pulls the Effluvia back off of you, like he's sucking it away from you, and that drains your health. So no matter what, bring nullberries and always remove the ailment as soon as you get it, so he can't do that to you. Alright, well that's everything I have to say. For fighting Vaal Hazak, I would put the Anja Arch 3 as an S tier weapon for fighting Vaal Hazak. I would say it trivializes the fight and it's definitely a meta setter. Alright, so I hope you guys consider this weapon. For all other fights, I've only ever used this bow for fighting Vaal Hazak. I don't really use it for Kieran. Kieran would probably be the other monster you consider, but I typically just use a heavy bowgun on Kieran and do fine, so I don't really know how to rank it for Kieran, but for Vaal Hazak, we'll give it an S tier rating. Alright, I want to thank you all for watching, I'll see you guys next time.